Pretty Dece, here we go. Facebook.com/Pretty Dece Show. It's time to geek out with Josh, your host.
What's up, everybody? I'm Josh Meek, the Uber Geek. Welcome to Pretty Dece, the short show about movies, comics, games, and all the pop culture in between. Today we're talking about the world of video games because hot on the heels of the surprisingly successful Dragon Ball FighterZ fighting game, we are getting another Dragon Ball Z game this year, and this one is an action RPG, surprisingly. So this game was just announced. We got a very short teaser trailer for it, and it opened with reminding you, of course, about Dragon Ball FighterZ. They clearly want to build on the success that game saw, and they're not doing it with another fighting game. They're doing it with this action RPG, which definitely has me a lot more excited than a fighting game otherwise would. Now, this game is currently titled, it is a working title, I believe, but it's currently titled Dragon Ball Game Project Z Action RPG. So not exactly super snappy there. Other than that, we really know next to nothing about this game. We know that it's coming out sometime in 2019, this year, and we know that it's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. So we know that at least at launch, it doesn't look like it's getting a Switch release, but it's coming to the other major platforms. We also know it's being developed by CyberConnect 2. CyberConnect 2 is a Japanese game development studio that's basically just been making Naruto fighting games for the past 16 years. Seriously, they've made a ton of Naruto fighting games. They are most known for that Naruto Ultimate Ninja series, which I think is generally well liked. It's certainly not setting the world on fire outside of the Naruto fan community, but I think it's a respectable game series. I think they've iterated on it a lot, and I think that people are generally happy about it if they are fans of Naruto. They've also made the Dot Hack games as a series of action RPGs, so they're no stranger to both anime-inspired games and also action RPGs. So they have a history of making action RPGs, despite the fact that they've recently been making mostly fighting games. So this trailer for Project Z RPG shows off some really gorgeous footage that I'm going to assume is mostly cutscenes of fights and of charging up. You get a brief glimpse at the very end of Goku walking around some various environments, which I would imagine is the only in-engine actual controllable gameplay footage that we see. I might be wrong, but it seems like the rest of it's going to be cutscenes. And it seems like they're going to focus on the story from Goku's perspective, as you might expect. Now, CyberConnect, as I said, does have that history of working on action RPG titles with the Dot Hack series, and I think generally they are a very workmanlike developer. They can put out very solid games, and they have almost a 20-year history of doing exactly that. So I don't have any concerns that this game is going to be an utter disaster or anything like that. But I am pretty interested in finding out how they're going to map the Dragon Ball Z concepts into a more traditional action RPG frame. Much of what Dragon Ball has to offer doesn't really lend itself well to an action RPG. There are lots of charging up sequences before fights. Those last for episodes at a time. A lot of the show is about going off and training. That can happen for months and months, what feels like an eternity. Those things aren't exactly fun to play out in a game, so how do you turn some of that storyline into something that a player can do and can have an effect on and feel like they're actually playing the game? Another weird thing that doesn't quite map to the concept of an action RPG is leveling. Of course, Goku does get stronger naturally over the course of Dragon Ball Z over the series, but he tends to do so at, of course, key storyline moments, and he does so in large bursts all at once. He goes Super Saiyan. That doesn't necessarily equate to he killed 10 turtles and gained a level from his experience, or he did 5 side quests. So I don't know how they're going to exactly map the idea that at some point you'll be able to go crazy and go Super Saiyan, with the idea that you also will need to progressively level up your character and get stronger and unlock abilities, as you would expect from an action RPG. So it'll certainly be interesting to see how they do turn a game that we kind of know what to expect from, at least as the storyline goes, how they turn that into a traditional action RPG and give us what we expect from that type of a game. One other weird thing about this game is that the people interested in this game, Dragon Ball Z fans, probably already know the story of Dragon Ball Z. So while it seems like they might be just retelling that Dragon Ball Z story again, I'd be pretty interested in seeing them try something different, tell a different story in this world. Other series do that, like Star Wars. They figure out how to slot new stories into the existing overarching world. I'd love to see something like Dragon Ball try that. I'm sure there's a way they could find to squeeze a story in here and there that doesn't conflict with what we already know and isn't the story that we all already know by heart. So it would be interesting to see that route. Who knows if that's the way they go, or if we do just get the more traditional Dragon Ball Z story as we expect, but I'd like to see that happen at some point. Nonetheless, I think fans of Dragon Ball or action RPGs in general have a little bit more to be excited about this year with this Project Z RPG coming. So that's going to do it for Pretty Dece for today. Thanks very much for joining me. If you would like to support Pretty Dece, you can do so. Visit prettydeceshow.com/listener support to find out those details. Also, just check out prettydeceshow.com. The website has been completely redesigned, so check it out and let me know what you think. Of course, also, you can listen to the podcast from your favorite podcast delivery platform, or check out the video version on YouTube, youtube.com/prettydece for the channel, and hit me up on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Pretty Dece Show.